I'm Harv Bennett, and for a lot of years, I've been here on the Fairmont lot doing the Star Trek feature pictures. Today, I would like to salute the best damn sales force in the business, you guys out there. So here's your salute. Now, you know what this is? You think this is easy to do, just like that? It's not. It took me 9 years and 4 pictures to be able to throw you this salute. So now let me explain it. This is Vulcan. This is Vulcan for Emes. Emes, of course, is Yiddish for truth, which simply means that when you're doing this salute, you cannot lie. You must, by Vulcan ritual, tell the truth. So here's the truth. Star Trek V is going to be a blockbuster movie. It is every bit as good as Star Trek IV, in my opinion, and maybe better. And I hope that with your help, we'll be out there doing as much or more business than we did on that epic success. So here's to you all. I hope you go out there and sell as hard as we have worked on Star Trek V. And I wish us all, as the Vulcans say, live long and prosper, especially in June. See? Double Emes.
The Journey.
Everybody to work harder and get it going, and that also has to apply off-screen to where's the wardrobe, what's the special effects, and the continuous attention to detail.
Voyage home, and we launched into this journey with a lot of exuberance, and in hindsight, maybe had too much exuberance and not enough discernment. Maybe we were smoking our own publicity, I don't know. We thought we could sort of do anything.
And I am pleased with how it stands up over time, where it was then and where it stands now in years later, a decade later. Bill's turn, meaning Bill Shatner's turn to be the director, the auteur. Leonard had certainly had
in this movie, and he worked very, very, very hard, and introduced some very fresh elements.
He did direct 5, and so within that, the story at least begins to come from Bill in terms of what he's interested in and what he wanted to say.
God finds the devil, and by extension, God exists.
I said, Bill, we can't make that movie.
Then Roddenberry says, I wrote a script about God and Star Trek, and it didn't work, and it was not going to work. We can't do a thing about God and Star Trek, because we'll alienate people. Besides which, it isn't dramatic. What?
And I said, I love you, I've done my 3, let me go on and do something else. It wasn't because I didn't want to.
Like Kirk and McCoy, is real. And what's more real than people wondering, is there a God?
Covering the selection of David Lowery and his delightful, almost whimsical sense of humor.
Captain, we concocted a slightly alternative story to Bill's original, which the studio accepted. Even though they're very distinct individuals, I felt that they were brothers, and that was one of the other
Of your life. From that moment on, you're an altered person, whatever that experience is. A part of them would lead to the conflict between us.
as a family unit, but an unusual family.
That whole thing was new to me. The whole scope of a motion picture as opposed to a television series, which is mostly shot on stages.
Pole going through to a bodysuit.
I mean, where we were going, we had to pick a location. And there's an interesting problem there. What do you pick when you want to depict a potential Eden or a potential hell.
Milton's article. And
On these things was absolutely incredibly difficult. And quite aside from the rattlesnakes that were all over the place, just climbing up on these things, every surface was covered with loose gravel. This is madness.
Really was water. So it was a pool.
Department bring out every smoke generator that we had, and of course these smoke generators are immense, and they sound like jet engines and look like machine guns. Well, we fired them all up, and we shot as much smoke as possible behind this mountain, behind this peak that they were climbing. And it's so...
Well, I'd say, how? They wanted to get to go to here and to do that. And he'd laugh, I know. People who have another idea and is
a personal vision, a visual vision to the movie, a cinematic vision to the movie. And I think Bill did. I think he has some very strong ideas.
And then you get all the people who are to help you. Cinematographers,
certain scenes in the bridge were to be shot, and there's a question of, you can play it wherever you want, but this really should be something that Sula should do. And so he said, oh, okay. And I'm thinking, gee, even though Bill Shatner is the director, it's hard not to think of him as Captain Kirk. So it was kind of funny to be in
that kind of image of him as being Captain Kirk in the outfit, and to see him in normal clothes. Or he wore this shirt, was almost like a showman shirt from Las Vegas or something, and it was this black shirt with these long flowing sleeves. And it's like, well, that's the real William Shatner. How about that?
That he has the appetites of a star, which he is. And
we're going to get there, and I'm thinking, you can't cut that shot. Well, that shot is $257,000.
Not have been a Star Trek 6.
It is an awesome. They want $70 million out of it. They want to double their money. It's like blackjack. You're doing blackjack with a studio making a film. I saw Larry Luckenbill in his show LBJ, and he was mesmerized. He was as theatrical as Lyndon Baines Johnson was.
I felt that in the very beginning, we had a chance at one of the great moments in Star Trek history, and that is when the acknowledged next.
Harv and Bill, we needed a joke. I suggested, well, why don't we put Uhura up at the top of the sand dune, singing a song and doing a dance? Now, I was joking. That was a joke. And they said, no, we'll do it.
And she, being the performer, always likes to do the songs. She had records out at the time.
Firm on the story direction that he wanted to have, yet at the same time he was very committed to having as much science in the story as possible. So we had lots of discussions.
Trek is about special effects. It really isn't. It's about the characters. This story needed the effect.
I did a test at the beginning of the movie with 4 different companies. What we asked each of them to do was, there was a bright...
I think he just ran out of gas.
And although the effects are going to be shot in New Jersey, we built the models here.
The workload increased. The stuff came in late. We got panicked.
Way now in terms of the actual, infrastructure and pipeline that's necessary to make these huge event movies.
But it was an ending that was going to cost about $4 million. And in 1989, $4 million was more like $20 million would be today. So to add another $20 million to a picture today, you can understand the studio's reticence to make that kind of an ending.
Here was the ending. Exploding out of the rocks, the barren rocks upon
Sorry, interrupted.
which Kirk finds himself having dealt with the devil. Now he's got to get back to the spaceship, run, exploding, come out of the granite.
When I first read,
Well, listen, meant to tell you, the Rockman suits are $350,000 a piece. Huh? Yeah, and you want 10, that's $3.5 million. We don't have $3.5 million in the budget.
that aspect of the story was always being kind of chipped away every time there was a new draft. We ended up taking out a creature. We ended up taking out a moment.
Actually, how much money we've got? We've got exactly $350,000 in the budget for the Rockman. But that's only one Rockman. Yeah. Okay, I can make that work. I'll shoot him here, and I'll shoot him there, and I'll get him there, and I'll put this, and I'll place that in the frame, and I'll get that in the frame. Okay. Can I see the suit? No, they're still doing the getting it coming. The night before the scene, the Rockman, the stunt man with the Rockman suit on, comes onto the set. We're in the desert. Because that'll burn the stuntman's face. Huh? Wouldn't you have thought of that when you said you were going to make... So it was just...
too dreadfully disappointing to put in the movie. It just was embarrassing.
Studio executives came to see it. They were awesome in their praise. He went, wow, it's so good he can't even say it's there. He can't even say how good it is. That's what that gesture meant. And then it opened. They're all about the same level of income.
It's unique, and I'm very proud of it.
One of my great abilities is really unknown, is denial. I am so good at denial. I can deny pain, I can deny fatigue, and I can deny things not working out. Hey, it's okay, we'll get this will work, and we'll do, and we'll go. So I had fun. I was in a joyful act.
All right. Star Trek V press conference.
That took place on the 28th of December, the last day of photography, as I remember, in 1988. We had originally thought about the control of the spin, as it were. It was kind of fun. Last day of photography, and that's the press conference that wrapped that all up. And we had a pretty good attendance there at that digital Voyage Home movie, so hope you enjoyed that.
I'm going to take a break. Easter eggs only because of delete scenes copyright.
Spot the booster rockets.
Yours were too heavy. Must be all those marshmallows.
Fire the rockets! Hit the
Okay, we're done. Let's move on to Die Hard 2, Die Harder.